What's going on, everybody out there, and welcome back to another episode of the Dark Avengers Chaotic Comic Review. We're in episode 2. It took a little while, unfortunately, due to reasons, but we're here, and we are talking about comic books once again as we try to fight to catch up so that the reviews are for books I read in the previous week. However, this episode, episode 2, is going to break Dark Avenger records. This is the first ever comic review in Dark Avenger history to have 4 weeks of comic books in one episode. That's right. We're talking about comics that were released the weeks of February 9th, February 16th, February 23rd, and March 2nd, 2022. A total of 21 books. Now, episode 1 was almost an hour long with 22 books. And it was the first episode. I figured it's the first episode. Let's get that first episode out and celebrate and talk about the books heavily. There are 21 books here. I want to make this episode a little bit condensed, especially because it's 4 weeks worth of books. And these books I read about 4 weeks ago. We are catching up. The next episode, unfortunately, will have 2 weeks in it. It's going to have last week's books and today's books. I'm recording this on Wednesday. So this will have 4 weeks. Next episode will have 2 weeks. And then hopefully we'll be caught up. Like I said, my goal is to catch up by the 5th episode, so this way we can talk about just 1 week's worth of books, and then I can start reading more books again. But anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on this intro. We're going to get into the books. It's going to be a bit shorter. Again, this is episode 2, and this is for books that came out 4 weeks ago, but I want to share my thoughts on it, so let's get down to it. I've got the list here. I'm recording this time on a different camera to test it out, see if this looks better, acts better, and edits better, and then we might be using this camera from now on. I'm going to be testing also. It's part of the process at the beginning of every series, and there are other things in the works, other things cooking up. So stay tuned right here on this channel. But anyway, let's get into the books for the past, or these 4 weeks, not the past 4 weeks, for these specific 4 weeks. And I'm going to be grouping certain books together, like the first 3 books we have: X Lives of Wolverine, issue number 3, X Deaths of Wolverine, issue number 2, and X Deaths of Wolverine, issue number 3. And this time, it's a reverse from what I was feeling last episode. Last episode, I thought Lives was doing stronger than Deaths. Now I feel Deaths is doing stronger than Lives. While Lives, yeah, you still got Wolverine jumping around from era to era in his life, and, you know, he's trying to catch Omega Red and bring him back, and then unfortunately eventually gets possessed by Omega Red. I didn't feel as attached to this as I did in the previous 2 issues, but in X Deaths of Wolverine, now we find out that this is a Wolverine possibly from a dark future where he is the last mutant to live before he dies, and somehow is brought back by Krakoa, and he's talking with his children. It has an interesting story to it, and there's also other things that are going on in the background as well, other characters, and it's very interesting because it feels like this is going to somehow mold where the future goes, not only with Wolverine, but with the X-Men. And I like it. I love the artwork in both books. I think the artwork is great. However, again, opposed to last episode, this episode, I feel like Deaths was a lot stronger. I enjoyed it. I can't wait to get back in. I know there's 2 weeks, so I'm probably going to have another Live and Death book to read. But at this point, it's a 50-50 split. X Lives and Deaths. Really strong books. I'm enjoying them. If you like Wolverine, if you've been enjoying the X-Men, you're going to be reading this book. Speaking of X-Men, let's talk about X-Men issue number 8. The X-Men versus MODOK, who is on a cruise ship. So they have to save the people on the cruise ship from MODOK. I love how they have Laura, and I keep forgetting that other X-Men's name. I will get it eventually. They ended up getting locked away in a vault for hundreds of years. Yes, hundreds of years. It's possible. And they ended up getting together, somehow getting married, and then they died in the vault and were reborn on Krakoa, but they didn't have all the memories from being in the vault. Well, the man did because of his psychic abilities, but Laura didn't. So when she came back, she couldn't remember what happened in the vault. He could, so he had all those hundreds of years in his memory, and that's why he's working with Laura. And I like how this book kind of focuses on him a little bit, because he's not sure if he wants to be in the X-Men, because he's not sure if being a ghost of a past that Laura can't remember is a good thing. And also, he made a mistake in a previous issue. He does make reference to it. I didn't read that, unfortunately, but he's questioning whether he belongs in the X-Men or whether he should quit. And one thing I do find very weird is Cyclops is now Captain Krakoa. What? Okay, fine, whatever. I mean, the costume is weird. Weird, very weird costume. But I like how they fought Krakoa. I like the chemistry between Laura and this guy. I really wish I could remember his name. Anyone in the comments, you're welcome to correct me or to tell me his name. I did enjoy this issue, but one thing I do like, and I like that they're covering it in this book, is Ben Urich, who is anyone who knows Spider-Man or knows, of Ben Urich, he is a reporter. He's questioning the immortal X-Men, the undying X-Men, and this is what we all have been talking about for quite some time now. When an X-Men dies, they don't really die, because Krakoa brings them back all the time. So I'm hoping that this is kind of the beginning of getting out of that immortal cycle, because if you can do something and die and then just be automatically brought back and you have an infinite amount of lives, and I would be doing suicide missions because I'm just going to get brought back anyway. And I feel like it takes away a little bit from the suspense of, if they die, death is death. But now all of a sudden, it's not death anymore. It doesn't matter. The X-Men can die. I've seen certain X-Men die multiple times and they just keep coming back. Death doesn't matter to X-Men anymore. And that's kamikaze X-Men. But the story itself, I enjoyed it. I do hope that they work out Krakoa completely at some point, bringing back X-Men. I hope that they find a way to kind of get rid of that. But other than that, I'm enjoying X-Men. The charts are still there, of course, but I mean, of course they are. But I'm enjoying X-Men, and as far as the Deaths and Lives of Wolverine, again, definitely something I would recommend. Let's get into some Superman books. First, we have Action Comics 1040. Superman's still on Warworld. Mongol is trying to break him down. He goes after people that are close to Superman. Superman's plan to free everyone from Warworld gets put into motion a little bit too quick, and he has to escape, and he manages to escape. But now, like I said, people close to him are going to pay the price possibly for that. And you see that Superman actually has the crowd on his side, and Mongol can't just straight up kill him, because if he does, Warworld is going to revolt against him. And I like that. I like that Mongol's trying to be smart about how he's going to deal with Superman. Again, I feel like we saw how this is going to end, though, in Future State. So I'm hoping that somehow there's going to be this little event or something that happens and it changes what Future's End happens. And I don't know, because Future's End had a lot of dark future for a lot of characters in DC. And again, era by era. But we'll see what happens. When it comes to Action Comics, again, I look forward more to Superman coming back to Earth. This Warworld story is just not doing it for me. And I have been away from Superman since the Bendis run, so it would be nice to finally get some good stories back into Superman. However, I will say Superman, Son of Kal-El, issue number 8, I did enjoy. John trying to stop the Rise from fighting the monster and trying to peacefully deal with the situation. Unfortunately, things go awry in the last episode and in the last issue, and they get even worse in this issue, and a gigantic tsunami hits Metropolis. John is able to save many, but unfortunately others aren't so lucky. And Aquaman shows up. They're able to stop the monster. He's able to get the group to deal with Metropolis instead of fighting the monster while he tries to deal with it. It works out. John saves the day. However, they use the deaths to kind of make John the martyr, or not the martyr, but John is basically blamed for it because he couldn't protect Metropolis. And this leads into this big speech at the end of the book where, of course, you have this generic bad guy creating generic super soldiers to replace the superheroes of the world because it's their fault. We've seen this before. John, of course, being new to being a superhero, though, especially being Superman, we get to see how he deals with that. And Jay, his boyfriend, tries to help out. And I like that we're getting a young Superman. Again, I like the story aspect. I like what they're doing with John. He also ends up joining the Truth, which is what Jay works for. I like that because John is in search of the truth and to unmask all the corrupt businesses out there. I do like that. I am really interested in seeing where Son of Kal-El goes. I will say that. John is a very interesting character, and I'm really happy that I jumped in. I would like to go back and read the previous issues, but this is a very strong book. Out of the 2 Superman books right now, this one is the one I would say to keep an eye on. And also, it's got a lot of really strong future possibilities, especially with Lex Luthor. So definitely something I would say to keep an eye on, especially if you're a Superman fan. Okay, we'll get into some Batman books. Batman the Knights, issue number 2. I like this. Bruce in Paris meets a burglar. Not Catwoman. Not Catwoman, but she's a burglar. And he learns from her and joins her. And they go on this spree, and he's learning more, of course. This is all building, I guess, to him becoming Batman. So he's learning the trades of how to be sneaky, how to get past certain systems. And it's really good. I enjoyed this book a lot. And then, of course, he gets romantically attached to this woman he's working with. And then, of course, the ending. The ending where we're not going to jump an era again. We're going to stick around because the next issue is the next part to this story where now both of them are in trouble. I'm interested in seeing where this goes. The Knights, I will say, I'm pleasantly surprised by this book. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it or not. This issue I really did enjoy. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the next issue, especially now that Bruce and this burglar have been caught. What are the ramifications of that? I'm really interested, and I definitely recommend it. Batman, issue number 121. Now, this is my first Batman issue in a while. So apparently Batman Incorporated is involved. Lex Luthor's involved. Batman's trying to deal with other situations. So Batman puts Lex Luthor in charge of Batman Incorporated so he could deal with the other problem that's going on. And yeah, this book was all over the place. I will say that. Again, it was. Now, when I say it's all over the place, I should have been there from the beginning of this arc. I had no clue where we were going with this arc. I probably will be more caught up. I'll be more into the next issue where it's. I believe it's the beginning of the next story arc. I believe. I can't remember because I read again. These books are X amount of weeks old. But I'll come back for the next issue again. This was towards the end of this arc, so I missed out on everything that happened before it. So I kind of jumped in. So I have no idea what led to this, but again, it involved Batman Incorporated. I know certain characters in there. I like how Lex Luthor was put, you know, in charge of dealing with Batman Incorporated while Batman's dealing with other situations. Again, if you're a Batman fan, you'll be reading it. If not, you won't. I personally want to wait for the next. I'm going to continue reading it, but I'm a little lost till the next story arc begins. Robin, issue number 11. Ra's al Ghul, Talia versus Ra's mom, and wow, it was a fight, and then of course the mother gets put away again, and then the book ends with a party. I like how this book went from super serious to almost wholesome, even with Ra's al Ghul a little bit. And it's weird because it's the end of the tournament now. Everyone's leaving. The tournament's over. Everyone's leaving the island. Everybody has their own places to be. Robin made new friends, but now Robin won the tournament, so Robin won something. So Robin is going home to... I don't want to spoil this ending because the next issue might be very interesting. But let's say Robin's going home to try to do something a little unconventional. Something out of the Batman... Definitely something Batman would not get behind. So I'm really interested in seeing the next issue. The artwork for this book is amazing, and I am glad that I stuck around with Robin. New arc begins in the next issue. Robin has been a book I've been saying since I've been reading it, even though I missed the middle of the tournament. It's been a book, definitely a book to read, definitely something to keep an eye out on. So definitely check out Robin if you haven't already. Green Lantern issue number 11. Hal Jordan shows up. It's the Green Lanterns versus this corrupted Guardian. Things go wrong, things go right, and then there's a big explosion at the end, and now Hal lost the ability of his power ring for some reason, and we're left kind of in a limbo, or in front of this sphere, it looks like. I don't know. But we're left kind of up in the air at the end of this issue to what's going to happen next. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to seeing where this development moves further along. But Green Lantern, this is good. I mean, I've been waiting for a good Green Lantern book for a while now. I enjoyed reading this book. And again, I've been away from comics for a while. Some of you are probably watching these episodes and going, Chris, you sure you really enjoy this book? As we get back to, like I said, me reading week to week and having more books to read, we'll see if I feel the same way. But I've missed comics for so long, everybody. I'm just enjoying reading the books. I honestly don't have that much bad to say when it comes to a lot of these books. Another lump up. Here we go. Amazing Spider-Man, 89, 90, and 91. Pete, finally, we saw in the last issue, Ben said, I'm done. F this, I'm out. He leaves. Mary Jane's in trouble. We go to the Peter Parker point of view now of Amazing Spider-Man. And Pete needs to get out of bed. He's like, I gotta go save the day, whatever. And Black Cat basically webs him up and says, you're not ready yet. You're not at 100%. I'm going to deal with it. She goes and deals with it and isn't able to deal with it. However, Pete was able to break out of the webs and shows up, saves the day, thank God. And we find out that it was Ben's girlfriend that actually saved him because he wasn't able to break out of the webs on his own. And then she tells him where Ben is. He teams up with Ben. They go to Beyond. And one thing I will say is in issue 91, I believe it was 91, the artwork was a little different. And it kind of threw me off a little bit. But Ben, basically, he's still suffering from what they did in his head. Pete is not at 100%. And they are in Beyond now. And they are fighting everything you can imagine. And, of course, you have the dragon, the Sisters of the Dragon. Oh, my God. I'm going to kick myself later because I'm going to remember the name. But they show up to help out as well. So it's the four of them versus Beyond. And I love how Ben talks to the woman who runs Beyond and tells her basically, I don't care what you do, I'm going to find you. So if I were you, I'd start running. So I'm enjoying this. I'm looking forward to where this all ends. I believe it's going to be ending soon. Because we have a new run of Spider-Man coming with John Romita Jr. doing the artwork. Spider-Man's going to be rough to read for a while. Spider-Man is definitely going to be rough to read. However, I did enjoy these 3 issues. Amazing Spider-Man. This has been a fun Beyond story arc. Speaking of Ben, let's go into Ben Reilly, Spider-Man issue number 2. Ben versus Scorpion. Scorpion knows Ben is Spider-Man. Big fight, of course. And Ben wins. And again, this is all about Ben kind of connecting as a person. He's still trying to fight against being Pete. I'm trying to remember how it... But it basically ends where it turns out Scorpion wasn't the one that went after Ben, because Scorpion's been in jail the whole time. So who's going after Ben? That's the question. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the answer is to that as we get through this miniseries. Again, always fun reading a Scarlet Spider book. I enjoyed it. I like the art. I like the story. I am definitely hooked and can't wait to see what happens next. Batman Killing Time issue number 1. I was interested. The title interested me especially because we had other Batman killing books before. So Batman's fighting Killer Croc and it's to kill time so that Riddler and Catwoman could steal something from a vault. We don't know what it is, but as Batman's dealing with Killer Croc, this is going on. So there's like 2 things going on. You got Batman fighting Killer Croc. You got Catwoman holding this man's wife hostage. And then you've got this man dealing with the Riddler who basically says, you want your life to live? Open the vault. Give me what I want. He gets what he wants. And both of them are working with the Penguin. However, spoiler, they turn on the Penguin and now they have the box. What's in the box though? Why is Batman really concerned that that was taken? I guess we're going to have to find out in the next issue or in the issues to come, because what's in the box? That's what I'm left wondering. What's in the box? Gorgeous artwork in this book. Definitely really fun read. I enjoyed it. From end to end, definitely, if you're going to read any miniseries from Batman right now, this one seems like it's going to be it. I liked it. I like the dialogue. I like the way Jim looks in this book. Obviously, this is a earlier days of Batman because Catwoman's working with Riddler. Again, Jim is a bit younger. Definitely something to read. I enjoyed it. Now, the next two books are connected. We have War for Earth 3, issue number 1. Amanda Waller comes to Earth 3 with her Suicide Squad and makes an offer to Ultraman because Ultraman is losing control. His wife is sleeping with Owlman. He wants, he's dealing with the crime syndicate, and she basically offers him to be the god of Earth 3 or her god of Earth 3 because obviously Amanda Waller wants to be there and wants to rule with him. And she says she'll deal with all of his issues. She has somebody deal with Owlman, and it's crazy. However, there's another Suicide Squad that's looking to stop Amanda Waller, and you see them having to fight their way to Earth 3. And so this is crossing over through several books. So this book was really interesting, has me interested in seeing what happens next. But basically, Amanda Waller hands Ultraman the abilities to being a god of Earth 3, her god of Earth 3. Now we go to Suicide Squad issue number 13, which is the squad trying to, I believe it's the squad that's trying to stop Amanda Waller. So you get their point of view, and I guess the next part of the story. And this is also going to have Teen Titans in it, because NightWing's in it, and it's going to cross over in Flash as well. So there are a couple of books that Earth 3, the War for Earth 3 is going to cross over into. So I'm definitely going to be sticking with this to see what happens next. But obviously, you're going to have all these teams trying to stop Amanda Waller, stop the Crime Syndicate, stop Ultraman, and basically bring Amanda Waller back to the main DC universe. I'm gonna love seeing how Amanda Waller weasels her way out of this, but definitely very interesting. Both of these books, interesting reads. I will continue. Any book that is in Earth 3 that crosses over, I will be talking about in the review. So Flash and Teen Titans and stuff like that. Even though I'm not caught up, I will talk about the crossovers when it comes to Earth 3. What If? Man, I haven't read a What If and whatever, but we got What If Miles Morales. Number 1. What if Miles Morales became Captain America? Again, there's really not much to say when it comes to what ifs, because again, they're what ifs. It does end in a to be continued, so I'm guessing that Marvel was banking that this was going to go well, and it's going to lead into future stories. But it's basically what happened if, instead of being bit by a radioactive spider, Miles ended up taking the super soldier serum and becoming the next Captain America, because Steve Rogers is not Captain America anymore. It was interesting. There were other, obviously this doesn't take place on the main Marvel universe. From what I can gather, it was the Ultimate Universe. So it was if the Ultimate Universe survived, possibly. I don't know. But, again, it's all a what if. Every character is different. We have all different characters for all different people who are playing all different characters. It was an interesting read, but at the end of the day, when it comes to what ifs, it's a what if. Fun read. If it's to be continued, there's more. I might check it out. I love the artwork, I will say that. And it was cool seeing Miles Morales as Captain America. I will say that. It was a good read. It was a very good read. If you like what ifs, you're going to be picking this up already. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue number 126. I've been very eager to talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, especially since the review ended. And ever since issue 100, things have gotten very relaxed with the Turtles. The first thing I'm going to say is the artwork for the book right now. Again, I remember back in the previous 100, there was one arc. I believe it was actually arc 2, or was it arc 3, where I did not like the artwork at all. I don't feel like the artwork fits for TMNT, the artist that's doing the work right now. It's a little off for me. I don't know how to explain it, but sketchy. A bit too animated, and Casey, God, it looks like an iron hit his face in certain panels. Yeah, I'm not digging the artwork, but basically, there's this group of toads who are like a gang, and in the last issue, they burnt down the Turtles' dojo. Now the Turtles are going in to kind of, as Casey puts it, get revenge. Donnie was framed for kidnapping someone that's close to the the Toads, but he didn't. And it's a nice action-packed issue, Toads versus Turtles, and things don't go right. And we also get introduced to a new character towards the end, to be continued in the next issue. I'm not going to spoil that. at least the Turtles are starting to get purpose again, because I feel like things kind of went into a lax state. And then there's also stuff going on Utrum, which I like that. I do like that we're getting some stuff going on over there again, so we might actually be going back to Dimension X at some point. Really interesting stuff, but again, I'm glad that when I start these reviews again, we're getting back into the action of the book, because yeah, we're at 126, so that means there were about 20 issues of... There was action, but again, I feel like we didn't know where the book was going for a time, because it was just basically Mutant Town. So now we've got a little bit more of a possible direction, question mark? I don't know. But again, Turtles is very different, and again, this is the first time... No, it's not, but I mean, we're going beyond issue 100, so I'm sure there are going to be some hiccups along the way. I do have faith that things are going to fix up at some point. Definitely need a new artist, though. Definitely need a new artist. I did not. That's one thing I can say, is I did not really enjoy the artwork here. NightWing issue 89 now. At the end of Son of Kal-El, it said to be continued in NightWing, because now NightWing is getting involved in Truth. In this issue, we get to see him go and talk with Truth, but we also find out that he is basically going to be working with John for a little while, and this is going to be crossing over with Son of Kal-El. The next issue is going to be part 2 to this big crossover story. I love the cover. I love the crossover. I like how NightWing kind of has a flashback of when John was a kid and working with John now as Superman. And a superhero or someone ends up dead, and he's investigating, and John is investigating, and it all is connected to something, and Truth gets involved, or, you know, NightWing works with Truth as well, and I'm interested. I'm very interested in seeing where... Obviously, I'm going to be reading part 2 no matter what, because I'm reading NightWing, and I'm reading Son of Kal-El, but I'm loving NightWing. This story is interesting. The artwork is great. Story is good. Again, something I would be saying, check... NightWing you should be reading. Absolute must read. And if you're not reading Son of Kal-El, you'll obviously have to read the next issue because it's a crossover. Or maybe you don't care and you'll just wait for issue 90 and move on with NightWing alone. But I would say check out Son of Kal-El. This was an interesting part 1, and I'm looking forward to part 2. And finally this week, Dark Knights of Steel, issue number 5, the biggest twist at the end of this book. And I don't want to spoil it, but I want to talk about it at the same time. So there is something going on. There is some type of conspiracy going on in the background. And again, there are a few more flashbacks. Bruce comes back to the kingdom. Supergirl comes back. We have Wonder Woman who shows up in this book. There's a Harley and Poison Ivy moment. And this time it seems like Poison Ivy's the one chasing after Harley, which I do enjoy that. And Harley's the one that's kind of duty-bound to the kingdom. And she can't accept Poison Ivy's offer. However, she's there to ask Poison Ivy to help protect the kingdom by if anything comes through the forest, because she is the maiden of the forest, to basically prevent any dangers from coming in towards the kingdom. And I loved it. I loved the fight with Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman comes back, and now it turns out Supergirl is wanted for murder, but she never murdered anyone, question mark. And then and then we have also someone who's looking for the Green Man. And big spoiler alert, I gotta talk about this. The ending of the book was the biggest twist. So Bruce is telling Clark what's going on, and if you've been reading the book, you'll know what's going on. I don't want to spoil the whole thing, but the biggest twist, and I'm warning all of you again, this is a big spoiler, and again, it's gonna lead into the beginning of the next issue. Kal-El turns on Bruce and ends up stabbing him because Bruce comes clean about being only half Kryptonian, and he kind of reveals the story about the cheating that we found out in the previous issue with Jor-El and the Queen. And Kal-El basically is like, we are the superiors, we're going to rule everything. So he's the one that could be orchestrating everything, stabs Bruce and leaves him for dead. However, Bruce is saved by the Kents. To be continued. Wow. Now remember, Bruce is basically Kal-El. He is the firstborn, I believe, from what I remember, if I'm remembering correctly. So he got turned on, stabbed, and left for dead, and it's Kal-El doing everything. That is a twist. And the next issue is, I believe, the midway point. I believe it's a 12-issue maxi series. So the next issue is the exact middle of this arc, or of this this maxi series. This is a good ending. I loved it. If you are not reading Dark Knights of Steel, you're only 5 issues behind right now. Check it out. Check it out. You will not be sorry. If you're a Batman fan, if you're a Superman fan, like Knights, good writing, good art, really good story. This is my, as I clear my throat, this is my pick of the week. I am loving Dark Knights of Steel. Definitely check this book out. And with that, we've gone through 21 books in a half hour. Not bad. A lot better than the 50 minutes we went last time. I'm not going to keep you guys too long. Again, thank you all so much for being here. Links in the description below to all of my social media. Also to Twitch if you enjoy gaming. If you enjoyed this video, definitely leave a like, leave a comment. Would love to hear from all of you. If you're new to the channel, subscribe button, notification bell, you know the drill. I'm going to get better at this once we catch up completely. Next episode, like I said, it's going to be 2 weeks. So hopefully by episode 4, we'll be fully caught up. Keep our fingers crossed. I'm just glad to finally be able to record this episode. Hopefully we'll get episode 3 out soon, because I really do want to catch up. But I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Chris, Dark Avenger C86 once again. Thank you all so much for being here. Till next time, everybody, take care, keep reading, keep collecting, and I will see all of you really soon in the next episode.